Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. It's such a pleasure to have you here for the third session in the Minister of Agriculture's webinar series. My name is Neil Pardy, and I'm from the Farm Loan Board, and I'll be moderating today's webinar on investment succession planning. We have a terrific lineup of speakers today, but before we go ahead and get to them, I just want to go over a few housekeeping notes. Just some general notes. By default, all registrants will have your audio and video turned off during the webinar. If you'd like to ask a question, please use the question and answer feature at the bottom of your screen. If you prefer, you can also use the chat function of the webinar as well. So the chat and question and answer function will be monitored throughout the session and addressed during the live question and answer session happening at the end of the presentation. So joining us now is the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Greg Morrow, to provide his welcome.
Welcome everyone to our third session of our 2022 webinar series. As we build toward our live conference event November 3rd and 4th, 2022 at the Halifax Convention Centre, these webinars are an important way of starting the conversation on how we support the next generation of agricultural producers. New entrants and young farmers need dynamic partnerships to help support their aspirations. And today is an opportunity to learn about the collaboration that is taking place across Nova Scotia and across Canada to create new investment and succession opportunities. It's appropriate that today's discussion is moderated by Neil Pardy, Regional Manager for Crown Lending Agencies, as Nova Scotia's Farm Loan Board plays a key role in driving new investment. I'd like to offer a special welcome to panelist Sarah Dent, Executive Director and co-founder of the Young Agrarians. Her dynamic organization has created the BC Land Matching Program and other important initiatives for young farmers. Linda Best, Managing Director of Farmworks Investment Corporation, is also with us today to speak about how Nova Scotians are fueling investment in farms and food production. Thank you, Neil, Sarah, and Linda, for sharing your insights today. And thank you as well to Perennia and our webinar series sponsors, Farm Credit Canada, Nova Scotia Farm Loan Board, and TELUS Agriculture for making today's event possible. I hope our webinar participants enjoy today's session, and I look forward to seeing all of you in person this November 3rd and 4th, 2022 at our live conference.
Thank you, Minister. So as the Minister mentioned, our series sponsors are Farm Credit Canada, the Nova Scotia Farm Loan Board, and TELUS Agriculture. We have some videos for us to watch.
Food keeps our country going, and so do you. If you grow it, produce it, pack it, or move it, you're a key to our future. And we're behind you every step of the way. We're FCC, the only lender 100% invested in Canadian agriculture and food, serving diverse people, projects, and passions with financing and knowledge. If you're behind Canadian food, we're behind you. FCC. Dream. Grow. Thrive.
My name is Alphonse Vermeulen. My wife and I farm 50 dairy cows on a robot in Urbania, Nova Scotia.
We actually got married in 2014 and bought the farm in 2014. And originally we owned a tie stall in Princeport, and it was just January of 2020 that we moved to this site in Urbania.
We've been working with the Farm Loan Board since the beginning, when we first bought the farm in Princeport. The Farm Loan Board was more flexible with the challenges we were facing trying to enter the industry.
They helped us actually to do this site switch. They provided us with a loan that helped us to retrofit the barn that we're standing in right now. That was a tremendous help. It was a big step for us to move from the tie stall to the milking facility that we have here.
So with the loan board, we're character lenders, and we do like to develop relationships with our clients. And what that means is through the years, we get to see how people are progressing and how they're growing. We get to see their weaknesses as well as their strengths. We do look at, we review their financials yearly, and we like to see where we can make that better and make them stronger.
So we're really a complement to the other lending options. You know, we say that we don't compete with banks or other lending agencies. What we really want to do is provide a solution for farmers that is different than what's being offered commercially. Really diving down on the business plan, working with them to make sure that they have a partnership with other programs or granting opportunities is really what we're focused on.
They understood a lot of things that even we didn't understand, and it really helped us navigate some tough times when you're trying to get into the industry.
Agriculture fuels the world. But as our food needs evolve, so will our need for information. We're making a commitment to everyone, from seed growers to grocers, to leverage the power of connection and technology, to build trust, to link systems together, and to use resources and information in new ways. We want to build something stronger for everyone, to share the responsibility by cultivating partnerships that drive the industry forward, and harvesting ideas as transformative as the first horse-drawn plow. Because we believe in creating better food outcomes.
All right, once again, thanks to our sponsors. Before we move on to the session, I want to take an opportunity to remind folks that there are 4 sessions remaining in the series. All are free, and please visit prenia.ca to register. I also want to take a moment to mention that the 2022 Ministers Conference for Agriculture will be held on November 3rd and 4th. Registration is now open on the website. Now on to our session. Sorry about that. Our first lineup of presenters for today. So just before I start, I encourage everyone to visit Prenia's website to learn more about each of our speakers and the wonderful organizations and initiatives that they're leading. We have our first speaker, who is Sarah Dent, co-founder and executive director of Youn Agrarians, is a professional farm wrangler, public speaker, photographer, health coach for the past decade with a team of young collaborators. Sarah has grown a farm-to-farm educational resource network called Youn Agrarians. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Sarah. Thanks, Sarah.
Morning, everybody. I am just getting my PowerPoint going here. Thank you so much, Neil. It's such an honor to be on a panel with Linda Best, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak to the Nova Scotia Ministers Webinar Conference. It's great to be here today. It's very early here on the West Coast, and I am deeply grateful to be on Tla'amin territory here in what is colonially known as Powell River, BC. It's up the Sunshine Coast. So it's wonderful to be here today, and yeah, very grateful to be here. So much is going on in the world And we've had such a very complicated last year with climate change and flooding and wildfires. And at this exact moment in time, it feels like a bit of a respite from all of those things. But with global events, you know, it's an interesting time that we're in right now. And I believe our food systems are more important than ever. So I'm here representing Young Agrarians, and Young Agrarians is the largest educational resource network for new and young. We work mostly with ecological farmers in Canada. A lot of young people are getting into farming today because of their values and desire to do something meaningful with their hands. We've built our programming frameworks over the last decade through a farmer to farmer ethos. So as much as possible, we engage farmers to provide services and technical assistance and coordination to other farmers so that we can build the capacity on the ground for support. Currently, our program delivery is Western Canada. We operate programs from BC to Manitoba, and the network of farmers and collaborating organizations is national. I'm going to start off by giving you a high-level overview of Young Agrarians, and then I'll dive more into our land matching program so we can talk about land and land transition and land succession. So these are some of the amazing farmers in our network over the years. This image brings me so much joy and a sense of connectivity with all the people that we've been working with over the years. And our mission is to grow the next generation of ecological and viable farmers to support people to be able to stay in and keep farming. And why are we doing this? I think many people understand that very few Canadians actually farm now. It's the last census from 2016 said 1.7%. And of the 1.7%, 9% of those are 35 and younger. So a very small percentage of people farming, and an even smaller percentage of people fall into that young farmer demographic. And you can see that as the cost of land and production have increased over the decades, less and less young people have been able to enter. So this creates significant entry barriers for people wanting to get into farming. So as for the last census, we're waiting for the next census results to come out to see if we've had any uptick. Less than 25,000 farm operators in Canada are 35 and younger. That's a very, very small demographic of people. So our primary program goals are to support new farmers to access education, training, land, business mentorship, and sectoral resources. Our programs fall into 5 high-level programming areas. So we do online engagement, educational events, apprenticeship training on farm, land access and transition work, and we provide business mentorships. Our programs work as a development funnel from online to on the ground to attract more new people into, sorry, a little technical issue here, into farming and help support them to start their farms. I'm not sure if everybody can see this little bar here. There we go. So effectively, the idea is that we need to reach thousands of people and support the farm curious to learn more about getting into farming and have them come and connect into the network. From there, they can access resources and opportunities online. So we have a whole geographic map of Canada where people can list their organizations, available land, looking for land. We have farms in our network listed there. We have hundreds of resources up, and then we have a very active blog. And so people can come and find out what local jobs are available, what local apprenticeships are out there. And from there, we hope they come into the sector and come attend one of our educational events, which happen on and off farm. That helps them connect into the network and further find the resources and collaboration that they're looking for. And for those who become more serious about farming, we hope that they go on to develop their production and business skills. And from there, some of them will intend to start farming. Many will intend to implement ecological, organic, and regenerative practices. And our goal is that they know where to access information and resources in the sector. So this is the development funnel that we're looking at. Our goal is to support more people to get on farm, access land, and continue to grow their skills to run farms. So for young people coming into the sector, we really want them to go and train on farms, take jobs on farms, get enough experience before they decide that they actually want to start a farm, manage a farm, access land, and enter the sector as an actual farm operator. So from that point of wanting to start a farm or transition an existing farm, they will then need to go on to further develop infrastructure. Whether startup, the first 5 years are definitely very hard. It's said that it takes 5 years to get into that break-even space. And then we hope that they'll farm long-term. And the farmers in our network, what the farmers are doing, like the amazing work of farming, is our farmers are regenerating soils and ecosystems. They're adapting to climate change because they have to. They're building food systems resiliency. They're helping to revitalize rural and urban communities through food growing. They're growing local economies through the multiplier effect. A lot of our farmers are selling locally. As their farms grow, they're providing jobs and training, and they're growing the short local supply chains that we need for the future. In 2021, our organization, which now has 18 people, we worked with 2,000 farmers representing 1,250 farms, 450 landowners, and 250 organizations. Online, we have thousands of people following us and many people checking us out monthly. This is part of our big goal, is to reach as many people as possible. And then we have our on-farm educational events that have slowed down with COVID. We've still been doing land socials on farm with much smaller groups of people. People are so desperate to get together in real time that they'll come out for a farm tour and stand far apart and still get some social time. So as you can see, we've had events across Canada. Our next busiest area of programming from BC is Alberta, and we've had over 15,000 people out to our events. We're doing quite a bit of e-learning now online, and we're really looking forward to end of 2022, where we'll actually start doing our young farmer mixers again, all things willing. So we run an on-farm apprenticeship program in regenerative agriculture that runs in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. We have a team that works to deliver that and help farms find the right matches. We work with everyone from grain to cattle to honey to flowers. We have every type of farm participating in that program, and we work each year to try and reach as many young people as possible to get them to come out and have these paid experiences on farms. This is the numbers to date of the number of apprentices that have happened, and our host farms, we have another 30 that are being onboarded right now. So we run a business mentorship in BC. We're working on developing a train the trainer for that so that we can expand into the prairies. And we see that mentorship in the first handful of years of starting a farm business is essential. Helping the new farmer with a sounding board. They work with a farmer that has production and business skills. And it's a full season mentorship, and we measure land in production, participant revenue, and volume of food produced from beginning to year end. And we also run right now a business boot camp nationally through our e-learning platform, which has been really awesome. There are 6-week cohorts for new and young people, and they work together to write their business plans and get to meet a bunch of different farmers and educators from across the country. So our biggest program that we run right now, the BC Land Matching Program, which is funded by the province of British Columbia. We work very closely with the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Fisheries here. This is our largest offering currently. And these are the numbers that we have right now. We've engaged 4,700 farmers and landholders. We've offered dozens of land access events, land links, land socials where people get together and network and meet each other and learn more. We have 35,000 acres listed on our UMAP. Over 1,200 listings. We have over 1,000 people actively registered in our participant inventory, and we've made 185 land matches completed on almost 9,000 acres. And the acres are basically, you know, a lot of new and young people coming into farming are starting small because they have to start somewhere. So that's how they're getting into farming. So the BC Land Matching Program has been a labor of love. We started growing it in 2016. I love the sheep. Got land, want land. This has been one of our outreach campaigns to start reaching landowners. And why are we doing this? Excuse me. Why are we doing this? As the value per acre of farmland in BC has increased. We have market failure conditions for agriculture, certainly in southern BC. You're probably going to find real estate prices more akin to Nova Scotia in central and northern BC, but that still presents a hurdle for people to make their down payments and get onto the properties. So as land prices go up, we more and more need solutions for new and young people to be able to access the land. And Food Secure Canada did a study some years ago now that said 74% of farmers say they will sell their land in the next 10 years. So we're currently in what's considered a massive transition crisis in Canada, the United States, in other parts of the world. I spent a winter studying land access programs globally. And indeed, this problem of not enough young people entering the sector, hard way to make a living, hard to access land, hard to build equity, but we need future farmers. This is really why we started the Land Access Program. I was fortunate enough to go to university in Quebec and have developed several relationships over in Quebec. And that led to the inspiration of Arterre, which is Quebec's land bank program. We began collaborating with them in 2018. We adapted their program over to BC starting in 2016, but we really got our program going in 2018 here. And we were able to take their program methodology from French, translated it into English, and we've been adapting it ever since and collaborating with Arterre ever since. So Arterre began with a massive, I think it's a 600-page paper of research and development in 2011 to 2012, looking at how do you revitalize areas where agriculture is leaving and there's significant agricultural land. So they started with one land matcher, and currently they have 42 across Quebec. In comparison, we have 6 full-time staff in BC. So 42 is really quite amazing. They're operated by an organization called Le Trac, which is an agricultural resource center that runs over 100 projects a year. And Arterre is one of their offerings. The land matchers are actually engaged by the counties, their county governments there. And it's tied into their rural revitalization strategy for Quebec. They were very focused on new entrants from 2018 to 2013. And they did a lot of very focused thinking about the exactitudes of the service continuum for farmers in Quebec. So if you talk to the people running the programs there, they have a very developed service continuum from startup to end to transition. And they have services and resources at every single step of the way, from grants for new farmers, to a provincial loan fund for new farmers, to land matching, to a resource budget. I believe it's 15,000 for technical assistance, all the way to needing transition support when you're ready to actually develop a transition plan for your farm and exit. So they have thought very much about every single piece of that continuum. And so we're very inspired by the programming in Quebec. And why are we doing the land matching? It's a proven program methodology that keeps land in or puts land into production. It supports agricultural area plans. We have those all across British Columbia, and it helps to tell a positive story of how local and provincial governments are supporting the next generation of farmers in agriculture. Land matching provides a method to directly measure how many new farm businesses start up, demonstrate impact, and proactively counter farm losses. We lost over 2,000 farms from 2011 to 2016 in BC, so farm loss is a real issue. This creates a public service to direct landholders and land seekers too, which is very key, because a lot of governments, local governments that don't have agricultural departments are very busy, and they do need people who know and specialize in agriculture to help direct people in the right direction and help to support people on this journey. So land matching reduces risk for new farmers and business startup and landholders bringing someone new onto their property. It facilitates more secure, stable, long-term agreements through a neutral third-party facilitator. And all of our leases are developed at the table through our land matchers who act as a neutral third-party facilitator. And then they go to a lawyer's office. The lawyers are very familiar with our agricultural leases. This addresses the farmer and landholder lack of knowledge around leasing as we systematically work through terms with both parties, and works to support better land use assessments pre-farming, so we can help a new farmer really think through their water and their soil and their business planning and really make sure that they've picked the right property and have the opportunity window to have enough dialogue back and forth between the landowner and the new farmer to know if the communication isn't there, if the parties can't communicate, if there's some big red flags coming up, that maybe it's not a good match. And we need both parties to continue to search further. That success in our books is also preventing matches, making sure that a new farmer doesn't get in and 6 months in, they've already not in the right situation for their new farm business. We help people become enterprise ready through dialogue with the land matcher. Our land matchers are farmers, and also working with one-on-one business coaching. The woman who runs our business mentorship network will provide enterprise readiness coaching. We have an ongoing referral network of support. So a new farmer comes in and we help to direct them to other people in the community, to any type of resources that exist in their region that we can move them over towards, whether that's some form of lending or if there's a good extension support in the area, etc. So land matching provides the leasing option, which then allows the removal of expense of a mortgage in startup. This is really, really key, especially for new farmers that are bootstrapping, new farmers that are experiencing even more barriers to entry, that might not be able to, they don't have land as collateral, they're gonna have to try and find more character-based loans, etc. So the land matching is providing them not just with the actual access to the land, but a whole network of support around them starting their farms. And this is the great joy of the program, you know, an empty field that's uncovered, soil that's uncovered, then to seeing it later in full food production. So an example of a successful match, farmer Mark was looking for somewhere to expand his dairy operation and was matched to a rare 20-acre property in Langley that had previously been a dairy farm, complete with barns, a milking parlor, and equipment. The retired farmer landholder, Tom, was thrilled to find a farmer who would continue the legacy of the property as a dairy and make use of the infrastructure on site. from land prices to the cost of equipment is almost impossible for young farmers wanting to start up, especially in the Lower Mainland. So Lower Mainland, Fraser Valley, it's like 5% of gross farm receipts in the country. That region, it produces a lot of farm product, farm gate sales. It's very expensive, multi-million-dollar properties. So the BC land matching program helped us find just the perfect match that allowed us to stay under budget, grow our existing business, expand into new areas such as organic produce operation. Without this program, we would have had to put in $250,000 for the milk parlor and $50,000 for fencing. This would have cut our potential growth in half and lengthened our payback period. We are ahead of the game by 5 years. This time freed us up to focus and work on our business plan to expand and get our numbers right. It was invaluable. So land matching is the work at hand in the market conditions that we have for land prices and inflation. And one of our avenues to getting to the point as an organization of being able to offer something as technical as land matching was we began by building land access toolkits. So basic primers for a new farmer and a landholder to read, to understand the considerations for accessing land. So currently on our website, we have a BC land access guide, one for Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick. The New Brunswick one is recent. We offer agricultural lease and license templates, which were developed 12 years ago. They're plain English sidebars, so that helps you translate the legalese and help you work through the terms. And those are reviewed annually. So effectively, they have been reviewed by lawyers in each of those provinces. And we also offer something, it was a participatory research project with our land matching team. It's a transition toolkit for non-family farm transfers. So if 3/4 of new farmers in the country are not coming from family farm backgrounds, there's increased need for non-family farm transfer resources. So we built this toolkit out with the whole team so that our land matchers could develop their skills to work beyond leases and licenses and help to actually work on longer transitions, 2-year, 3-year transitions to actually help transition the land base. So that toolkit is available online. These are screenshots from the web version of the toolkit. And so you can see here, we define what farm transition is, setting your vision, assessing feasibility, making a plan, documentation, implementation, maintaining your transition, taxes and regulations, further reading and resources. So this is a great tool for anyone wanting to work on transition and thinking about how do I bring someone new onto the farm that isn't my family, and what are some of the examples of ways that we can do that. So we look at vendor take-back mortgages, community lending, turning a farm into a cooperative, which if the land is very expensive, you might need a co-op to be able to take it over because that allows for multiple owners to share the equity burden of the land price. Of course, we have putting farmland into trust so that it can be held in perpetuity for farming and then leased out, and the combined power of co-ops and trusts. So these are some of the strategies that we're having to engage for being able to transition the actual ownership of the land base. So there's it's a very well-developed resource. I encourage people to go and check it out. We had other fabulous people in the sector like Farm Management Canada have a review of the toolkit. Several people advised on it. It was developed over a couple-year window of time. And as well, land listing directories. So there are enough land listing directories in the country. Nobody needs to create a new land listing directory. We have a UMAP, which is national. Arterre runs the website for Quebec. And then FarmLink is really a beautiful website that is available nationally that has the most listings for Ontario. So these are ways that you can list your land as both someone owning land and someone looking for land. And I'll just do a quick review of terms because I think if you're looking at can we start a land matching program, it's really good for people to understand these basic terminology. So land listings is a digital inventory. Land linking is a very broad term used in Canada and the United States that can refer to a digital land inventory. It can refer to land access resources. It can refer to networking events and land matching services. So FarmLinks in the United States offer different levels of service depending on their funding. Land matching is the goal. The most evolved ecosystem for land access is France, and they offer all of these components so that they can help transition their farmland. Land matching specifically refers to technical assistance for developing land access agreements, whether that's leases or licenses or something more complex like actual ownership by the new farmer coming in. So it's customized support to landholders and land seekers and matchmaking. A land bank acquires and holds land and usually does this to sell it back to farmers. So when you're thinking about the full suite of services, some people might refer to a land listing as land linking, but it's not actually necessarily land matching. And this is important because the land linking inventories out there will say that you can put a website up and you can put listings up, but they will not necessarily result in matches. They can, people can match themselves. But then from there, it's the consideration around if there's no technical assistance provided, what are the success rates of those matches? So this is part of the consideration around developing a land matching resource for a region. Growing new farmers requires coordinated new entrant strategies. It can be part of rural revitalization, climate adaptation, building short supply chains. Why are we revitalizing new farmers? Growing friendly cultural climates for startup, youth, and small businesses is so important. There's a tendency to value larger farm operations, but in the new and young and startup, we really need to value small business. These services need wraparound supports, part of a continuum of services, and it requires multiple stakeholders, farmers, governments, organizations, landholders, investors, philanthropists. It requires a whole sector of stakeholders to be able to make it work in today's land market and conditions. So long-term funding frameworks are essential, and it's slow growth economic development work. People want us to make 1,000 land matches a year. They want us to be like a dating site for farmers. I love that. It always cracks me up. But actually, it's not really possible. Matching, starting a new farm enterprise, making a match, these things take time, they take development, and they take a community to make them work. And so for our future, we do this work to ensure that we have a future generation stewarding the land and caring for the communities and growing resilient food systems. So thank you so much for the time today. We have an incredible, I would say, team of funders that have been supporting the work over the years. We're really grateful to our provincial ministry in British Columbia here. And please contact us if you want to collaborate. We would love to hear from people and work with people. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Very much enjoyed your presentation. It was great. I just want to mention in the chat, someone did put a link to your toolkit. So if the participants are interested, they can check that out. I encourage everybody to kind of take a look. So our next guest speaker or next presenter is Linda Best. She's a founding director of Farmworks Investment Cooperative Limited, a community economic development investment fund. In 2020, Linda was appointed to the Order of Nova Scotia, and in 2021 was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Department of Agriculture. Linda grew up on a farm in Annapolis Valley and graduated from Acadia University. I'd like to turn it over to Linda now and into her presentation. Oh, you're just on mute there, Linda.
There we go. There, that's better. Afternoon, folks. I'm very pleased to be with you this afternoon. And I'll go back to my first slide and open that up, I think. I'm not seeing my. Gee, okay. Well, I'll go with this. Can you see the slides? Okay, folks. Does that work for you?
We can see it. Yep. I think if you want to maybe click up top, you might be able to where it's a little just up a bit further where it looks like a little TV, you know, on a stand. I think right there might work.
There we go. Thank you. You'd think I hadn't done this before. Sarah, that was a wonderful introduction to where Farmworks is and how they intend to help to put those pieces together. I want to acknowledge, that we are on the land of the first people, and Farmworks looks very hard for opportunities to work with First Nations and all people. This is our board, and there's all of these people are anxiously waiting for me to tell them what the final number was today for the offer that we just closed yesterday. But the only person who can tell them at this point is our bookkeeper, because we haven't done the final total on the amount. Last year we raised 783. We hope that it will be at least somewhere close to that this year. So we have a wonderful board of volunteers who work very hard to support everybody. It's healthy farms to healthy food is our mission, and we realized early on that we need to support the people who are putting that food on the table, because they are the people who help the farmers to or help to promote the farmers and what they are doing in Nova Scotia, which is absolutely crucial. We're about people and community and health and the economy, the environment, and preserving the amenities of the countryside. We cannot look at any part of Nova Scotia separately. We have to, we have to bring all of these pieces together. The challenges and opportunities in Nova Scotia, at least 80% of our food is imported. Global issues, which we're certainly very familiar with at this point in time. About 98% of Nova Scotia's investment capital leaves the province, and that means it's hard to find funding for local producers, local businesses generally. So the program that we're working with gives us the opportunity to invest shareholder funds to support these businesses that are providing local food and beverages and increasing accessibility, thereby supporting our economy, communities, health, and the environment, and adding to the overall quality of life in Nova Scotia. I'm not happy as I'm sure everybody on this webinar is not happy with the fact that farmers in Nova Scotia haven't been doing very well, but that presents us with opportunities. So we need to make sure that the land is available, that the resources are available, that the general public is aware of the potential for food production to be a solution for the reasons I just mentioned, but for community, for all of the things that we value in this province. And I'm really pleased to see that despite these issues, the awareness of these challenges is increasing. So the issues that farmers have with being profitable are becoming more widely known, and it's unfortunate that that is the case. But as we become aware of the potential for us to do more, to buy more, those of us who who have the ability to make decisions around where their food comes from. We are hoping, we try very hard to encourage people to support local and to understand that the not just the economic benefits, but the health benefits of eating locally produced, nutritious food, helping to produce, to grow more farmers who will produce more food, to decrease the number of people who are without good, healthy food. So those are challenges and solutions. This is a huge challenge. Something like 46% of calories consumed in Canada are processed and highly processed. This is a solution. Farmworks and all of the other businesses that are being supported by us and by the various funders like the Farm Loan Board and FCC. These are solutions, and we need to work very closely to grow that using programs such as Sarah is describing, because we have tremendous potential in this province to do more and do it well. So as I mentioned, much of the food, much of the money that's invested in Nova Scotia, especially in our RSPs, leaves the province. This figure, I thought I would have the updated, but as of last year, it was 4 million invested by 460 shareholders. So it's going to be significantly more than that. We are getting back about 65% or $65,000 monthly. We've been able to lend out now just about $7 million to now about 136 clients. The CEDAF is having a significant socioeconomic impact on Nova Scotia, and George Karafilis has written an article about the CEDAF program. New Dawn in Cape Breton was one of those that started, and they were sort of mentors for us. There has been over $100 million invested. I have spoken twice in BC about the CEDAF program. There's interest there, and I've spoken in a number of other jurisdictions. This is a way for government to support keeping money close to home and deploying it where it's going to have a very significant impact on all aspects of our economy. So our shares are $100, five-year terms. You can invest up to $30,000. That the province is giving a 35% tax credit for the prior tax year, and then successive 5-year investments, 20 and 10%. Money can be transferred from existing RSPs, and new money can be put into RSPs through our partners, the Canadian Workers Cooperative Federation. And that's a very positive, has a very positive impact on the province. It certainly has had an impact on our clients in Nova Scotia. Just as a quick example, 10,000 invested keeps that money here. That is, sorry about the phone. That is money that stays in the province, is available. That 10,000 is available at the 5, 10, or 15 year if you need to take it back out, and you are getting those tax credits. And so that's the money that makes all of this work for the many clients that we have. I won't go into this, but it is on the website. So if anybody is interested in knowing more, so that they can invest in Farmworks next year, that's available. Our Farmworks lending is, there's no application or fees. I'm sorry about that. Moving forward, we do a huge amount of due diligence because the program does not enable us to take any security. So we work very hard with our clients, and we do the very best we can to provide the kind of resources that Sarah is is describing. This is relationship lending, and we are known, up until COVID, we were known as the hugging bankers. Well, that's changed, unfortunately, but maybe we'll get back to that, because our clients are absolutely wonderful people, and we've been very fortunate. We have had a few losses, but those have been minor relative to the overall success. We didn't lose any clients during COVID. Oops, I went the wrong way. What we've heard from our clients is that the value that's placed on the connections, sorry folks, the mentoring, the advice, the promotion, the work that we do to raise awareness, and the types of businesses, about 43% farms, then restaurants and cafes, beverage production and processing, which includes the small stores and distribution. The things that our clients do are, as you would expect, employment, the provision of healthy food, and that's a big piece, of course, but cheapers. The work that we do, and I'll show you a slide in a moment about one of our initiatives coming up, the support that they provide for their communities, and the fact that they're buying from other businesses. Figure 3, that was a bit of a shock, that when 91% of the people surveyed said that they likely wouldn't have succeeded without Farmworks. So that's, and remember, this is a wide range of businesses across the province. These are some of the points, and I'm not going to go through those other than to say that our losses have been below projections, that COVID made Farmworks clients more important for the security of health and the economy, food-related health and the economy, and that about 20% of our time, my time in particular, is spent working with people who need mentoring, who need just somebody to talk to. And they may never become clients, but we are happy to do that because it is contributing to the success of businesses in the province. It's nice to be referred to as the gold standard for development of CDIFs. So I'm just showing you a few of our many clients so that you can just get an overview of the diversity of businesses that we invest in. And many of the people who have been clients have now paid us back, but we still continue, of course, to promote them. And one of the ways we do that is, for example, the spring flavors that we will be having in April and May in Port Hawkesbury, New Minas, and here in Halifax. So thank you. That finishes my my quick overview. I'm sure most people in Nova Scotia by now who would be on this call are familiar with Farmworks, but I'll be more than happy anytime to talk with you or to have an email exchange with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Oh, thank you, Linda. Sorry about that. Thank you to both of you, Sarah and Linda, for your presentations. I'm just going to look in to see if there's any questions. I'm not seeing any in the question and answer or the chat. So if anybody does have any questions, they can certainly put them in the chat box or use the question and answer feature.
In that case, I guess we did well because we answered all the questions up front.
I think you done well. Yes, absolutely. Maybe I do have a quick question. I just wondering is one of the key, I guess, keys to, I guess, Farmworks success with their clients?
I think it is that relationship, Neil. I had a call yesterday from somebody who just wanted to talk about what was happening in the Ukraine. Doesn't affect their business directly, but just needed somebody to reach out to have a conversation. I had a conversation this morning with somebody who's having difficulty finding the funds that they need to start their business. So I made a phone call. Now somebody is from a lending institution is getting back to them. And so it's this web of connected businesses, and having learned, I and the other board members having learned where to direct people, when to be there, what not to say, because we try very hard not to be prescriptive. If anybody's starting a business, they probably know in their heart of hearts what they could and should be doing, and it's my job to just listen, maybe ask a few little questions, and help them to understand what the possibilities are.
Excellent. Excellent. So you mentioned some of them are looking for funding above Farmworks. So do you find that some of your clients know where to go, or is it more, are you providing that technical service and guiding them and connecting them with other potential grants or lenders, or what's available?
I've had great conversations with some of the people at the Farm Loan Board, and we're anxious to work with them whenever we can. We have some clients who have had good success with commercial banks. My neighbor just happens to be the CEO of CBDC here in the Annapolis Valley, and we've got some wonderful shared clients, the Station Food Hub being one. And there was a time when I was given a paper by a particular lender and told, if you give these people that amount of money, we will give them this amount of money. And we have written letters of commitment for a number of people. Our money is unsecured. So when we are part of the package, the due diligence and the assistance and the funds that we provide, to the extent that they help that business to be successful, that's a plus for other lenders, because we're not able to take, should anything happen, we're not able to take anything back from that. This is why we get the tax credit that we do from the government, because it makes us, initially it was said that we were the lenders of last resort. Well, we've turned that on its head, and we call ourselves the lenders of first resort, because people often come to us for the money that will help them, that they can put together with their funds in order to go to other lenders.
Excellent. Very exciting.
Sarah, tell us what you would like to see with regard to young agrarians here in Nova Scotia.
Well, excuse me, sorry about the frog happening over here in my throat. We've got young farmers across the country, but we haven't got active things happening. I mean, it's COVID, and I think like in Atlantic Canada, it would be great to just start organizing some new young farmer events and see how many people are coming out. And we're starting to, in terms of land matching programs, like we've started to do work in Alberta. We have a first Alberta land access project right now. So we're really looking at like, what is the inventory? Like how many landowners are contacting us and how many people looking for land are there. And so we kind of start with the developmental perspective of build the community and then build the inventory and see who needs the support, and then go from there. If there's a desire for a more extensive technical assistance offering, then the funding framework has to be built out, and so there has to be that kind of partnership creation, stakeholder engagement, to then start getting your land matchers going. And so, you could have a first land matcher for Nova Scotia and one for New Brunswick and one for PEI. And, these people can help to bring inquiries in and talk to people and start working through the technical propositions. So, we're seeing that, there's different considerations in different provinces, and there's different funding frameworks. There's no national new entrant strategy or no national funding framework. We're working right now to try and get a national funding framework in the next federal policy framework, the next 5-year multi-billion-dollar framework that would allow for land matching. So there's, like the simple place is to start with community and get some coordination hours happening on the ground. The value right now, like between BC and Alberta, is that the Alberta Land Access Program Coordinator is based there, but they're liaising with our team in BC. So they're getting all of the expertise of the land matching program. So, excuse me, we could work in another province, like with the same type of setup, where someone could get going if the funding was there for someone to start, and then they could liaise with our team to help them work through the different pieces.
Mm-hmm. We are seeing a significant number of young people of all ages moving to Nova Scotia who are interested in not just in farming, but in other food-related businesses. In the past, we've had what we call gentle dragon sessions. We haven't been able to do that for the last 2 years, but I'm thinking that probably there are ways for us to put together an initiative that where we can help to raise awareness and of the programs and of your online resources. So I think we'll carry on a conversation about this after today.
Excellent. And there's a really great question that popped up in the chat from the Halifax Food Policy Alliance, is looking to catalyze a land matching program here in the Halifax Regional Municipality and the surrounding areas. Wonderful. We are considering funding frameworks at the moment. You had mentioned provincial support. The BC land matching program, like we were able to get pilot money for a first person to work on it through foundations and philanthropy and local governments writing checks. And then I spent a winter writing a paper for our Ministry of Agriculture, and then they now cut us an annual check for the program in the amount of $390,000. It's not the cap monies, although they report up to cap for the delivery of deliverables of it, because it's part of what they're working towards. But it's provincial money that we've been given to pilot out and expand the land matching program into a provincial remote team. So we feel very lucky. We're embedded in that. There is a new entrant strategy in British Columbia at the ministry level, and we're embedded into their land access. They have 3 pillars, which is land, capital, and knowledge, and we are the land pillar for that. It's the BC land matching program. So we work very extensively with our ministry. We're working with them weekly here. That's led into the consultations for the next policy framework. So the question goes on to say, can you also speak more to your advocacy regarding the next agricultural policy framework at the federal level? So we've written a 10-page document in English with policy recommendations. I'm at the point where specificity is key. Broad language is not useful because the feds are designing their funding programs and the provinces are doing their programming, and then the organizations are doing their programming. We need to be very specific about what we're asking for at this stage in the game. And so the 10-pager provides our overall recommendations federally, which includes land matching, and we will work towards hopefully having the next policy framework include land matching as an eligible expense. I will say, having started a land matching program, there's a lot of gray in my hair that's kind of covered, that it's a lot of work. It's not for the faint of heart. It's hard work. It does require a proper program framework. We adapted ours from Quebec, from our terre. We continue to dialogue with our terre. And our BC land matching program, we have the first land matcher for BC is the program manager named Darcy Smith. She's in the chat right now, and she is a powerhouse. She's been really able to wrangle the program. It's very complex. Like, we're working with lawyers, we're working with legal language, we're working with a legal term bank, akin to the work that Linda's doing around lending and technical assistance. It's a TA program. And we recommend for anybody that's interested in starting one, don't do it on your own. Consult out, dialogue, collaborate. Even, just putting the resources and starting a brand new land listing directory, it's a waste of money at this stage in the game. Money really needs to go in for technical assistance, land matching, because there's enough land listing inventories out there, and that's one way that we could work with a local provider if they can raise some pilot money to hire an initial land matcher to get going. You really need someone that's doing the funding, driving the funding for the programming, and somebody who's driving the actual land matching technical assistance work on the ground. You can't have it be the same individual. And in Quebec, it was an individual that was driving the land matching and working on the R&D, research and development, and who helped build up the program. A fabulous woman named Leslie Carbonneau from Quebec. And then eventually it was moved over into Le Crac, which is a multi-million-dollar resource center, so that it could fully provincialize across the counties. But she had leadership at the county level. She had a county councillor. He was a county staff person who was really involved in the research and development phase for what do we do with our agricultural lands, and he drove the funding. So you need someone driving funding and someone driving the technical assistance. And the TA is not for the faint of heart, because it's all about land matching works when people have enough communication skills to be able to be in a land match relationship together. Same with succession and having a farmer allow a new farmer come on and buy a property. It's all about communication between the parties. And so you need people who have enough communication skills, who've done enough of their own personal development work that they can sit at the table, who can work through complexity, who can negotiate, who can have dialogue. These are all about relationships, and community effectively at the end of the day is what's going to enable our food system, I think, to move hopefully into a future which is people-centered. So there's a lot of complexity to it. So I would invite the Halifax Food Policy Alliance to be in touch, and we can have a call, and our fingers are crossed for the next federal policy framework. We really encourage the ministers to back a new entrant strategy for the country, a new entrant pillar, a funding framework with meaningful funding. Currently, it's very hard for new and young farmers to access the suite of programs that exist that are really for established medium and large scale producers. we really need to build the culture out around the valuation of small scale, of diversified, of startup, the type of programming that will actually reach and service a new and young farmer coming from diverse walk of life, who isn't just someone inheriting a bunch of family wealth. So this next policy framework is going to be really important, and we welcome as many voices in to help ensure that we have a future generation that can transition and succession the land and transition and succession existing farms. Sorry, bit of a rant, but there you go.
We have a number of farm clients who are landlocked, and there may be land that's close to them that would be very helpful.
Mhm.
But having somebody who can do that matching, who can have those conversations, and having access to programs that will allow for the appropriate for the approach to whatever documents and legal protections and so on and so forth. There's tremendous opportunity for land in Nova Scotia to be put back into production. We have a good supply of land that is not currently being farmed, and one of our goals, as I am sure it is yours, Neil, and Janet and others, is to get that land into production. And I'm curious to know if you have a comment, Neil, on what Sarah's just said.
Well, I do find it very interesting, and for sure, I think at one point we did have a land bank type of thing here at the Farm Loan Board, but I'm not too sure where that program is at this point. But definitely more farmland in production is key and a goal for sure.
Yeah.
There is another question. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that I heard that Quebec just recently launched an actual land bank to acquire land. I'm understanding to sell it back to farmers. So this is the next phase. It's France has a nationally funded land bank, and it will actually purchase land.
Yep.
And then work through the local land matching agencies, which there are several across France, so that they can help new farmers build the business structures they need to then take over larger holdings. So land banking is another way for us to think about how to transition land where you can grow food so that it doesn't go out of circulation.
Just a quick comment, Sarah, are you familiar with soil in Iowa? SOIL?
I'm familiar with soil, the stewards of irreplaceable lands. We have a branch in BC.
No, I mean soil, the organization started by Sarah Arams in Iowa.
Mm-mm.
No, that's they've run into some regulation problems now, but they've been very successful. I met them at Slow Money in the States in 2015, and they've saved a lot of farmland in Iowa.
Amazing. I mean, the States is where a lot of this work is really kind of accelerated. They have like a decade of farm links, and we did a bunch of consulting with Land for Good down in the States, and we talk with California Farm Link. They also run, they have the non-profit status there where they can actually be, they have, I'm forgetting, I'm stuck on the community and economic development investment funds, but in the States, they also have these investment organizations that do a bunch of the lending. I think, Linda, you've got a question here saying, not sure if funds are required to start my tree farm, but I am interested in the mentoring and possible partnerships. Is that okay?
That is absolutely okay. As I said, I spend a lot of time talking to people who probably will never borrow from us. So I'm absolutely happy to do that, whoever you are. Oh,
Well, excellent. Well, I think that's it for the questions that we do have. I don't see any more in the chat box or the question and answer function there.
well, thank you to Perennia and you, Neil, and Adam in the background, and Sarah. Really pleased to be part of this today. And this, as with BC, there's really something about being on the coast of Canada. Somehow, I think there's a lot of commonalities. And so it's at this time in the geopolitical world, it's good to have these kind of conversations. And Farmworks' aim is to bring people together, for us all to work together, because there are opportunities for us to be solutions for the future. And so I appreciate this. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much. Thanks so much. Honor to be here with you today, Linda. It's just so awesome the work that you're doing in Nova Scotia. And
Thanks.
I wish everyone there the best of luck with, continuing to build the local food economy, rebuild the local food economy. And thank you for having me today. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, both you. It was great meeting you, and it was great hearing your presentations. Been very interesting.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.